My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today is going to be a really important podcast. This is something that's been heavy on my heart. Listen, I take my coaching so deep, and it's something that I know I've been put on this earth for, and there's a really tough part of being a coach. I think some days it probably looks really fun, really easy. Oh, you just post a bunch of stuff on social media and, you do some stuff in your app and you have calls with people. But man, it gets deep sometimes and it gets challenging, and there's tough conversations. There's very personal conversations. And today I want to talk about the woman that I have to be to coach you best. And this may come out a little harsh, but I am not your friend. I am your coach. I'm the coach you actually need. So this may ruffle some feathers, but it needs to be said because your friends, they comfort you, right? They make you feel good. Your coach is going to challenge you. So this episode is for women who say they want to change and they're finally ready to be held to a higher standard. If comfort created change, you'd be where you wanted to be by now, okay? So let's talk about why comfort keeps women stuck. So most women have plenty of people who are going to validate their excuses. You talk to your girlfriend and it's like, oh, let's go have a glass of wine and talk about our day, right? And they normalize burnout. Like, this is something I see women all the time. Oh, I'm just, I'm working a lot. I'm stressed. Oh, Arin, did I tell you I'm stressed? Arin, did I tell you like how many kids I have? Did I tell you like, it's just me? Did I tell you like, oh my gosh, I work 1,000,000 hours? And I'm like, yeah, me too. Yep, fair. Okay, because we normalize this. We normalize that being burnout and saying yes to everything and having zero boundaries, that this is just normal. And we say it's fine. You're doing your best, okay? A good girlfriend is going to say, oh, girl, you got this. You're doing the best you can. Are you? Are you doing the best you can? Or have you settled? Okay, but comfort without accountability is going to keep you in the same darn habits, and you are going to continue to validate and tell yourself that it's okay to struggle. It's okay to feel not good in my own skin. It's okay to not feel comfortable in clothes. It's okay to say negative things about my body, right? It reinforces your old identity over and over and over again, and it allows you to self-sabotage and go unchecked. So support without standards isn't support. It's permission to stay the same, okay? So again, I know this topic is going to be a little stingy, but this is stuff that, man, I really want you to take this to heart. Where are you settling in your life? What can we do different? What women think they want versus what they actually need is where I want to go next. Because so many women want me to just, oh yeah, you're doing all the right things. Or when I share with them, hey, we need to tweak your strategy, and those tweaks, they're literally going to change your life. And you look at me like I have a third eye, and I get it because you think you can figure this out on your own. You think, reasonably speaking, I've educated myself, Arin. I have ChatGPT until the sun goes down. And I'm here to tell you that most of you think most of you want more motivation. If I had $1 for how many times I've heard a woman say, I just need motivation. Yeah, me too. Or you need more encouragement, or someone to be your cheerleader, or someone who understands me. These are all words that I hear day after day after day. And here's what you actually need. You need truth. You need structure. You need strategy, the right strategy. You need accountability, and you need someone who is willing to say the hard things. Hey girl, you can't keep doing what you're doing. Hey, you can't keep telling yourself that story. Okay, if you're nervous to do workouts, if you're unsure about, meal prepping, or Arin, I just don't have time for that. Listen, we all get 24 hours. You're saying yes to a bajillion other things, and you're saying no to yourself all day long. You don't need someone who relates to your excuses. You need someone who is going to interrupt them. Okay, so, what does it mean to be a real coach? And a real coach is going to hold a standard even when motivation is low. If you're traveling, if you're stressed, if you're in busy season, listen, I gotcha. I get it. Okay, me too. So we have to have a standard for our life. For most of us, myself included, and just so you know, anything that I talk about is because I've experienced this stuff myself. So the second you think I'm sitting over here on my throne, my high horse, whatever you want to say, I have experienced the burnout. I have experienced the in and out of doctor's office. I have experienced the, hey girl, your labs are normal. Here's a nice slip for an antidepressant. You just must be stressed. I can't imagine running a business, kids, this, that, the other. And so I get it. Need a coach who's going to call out patterns, not just behaviors. I've shared with women, hey, I notice you eat out a lot. I notice you're in and out of a drive-through a lot. And sometimes that stings because it's personal, right? Hey, I notice that you're not getting to bed very early. Hey, I notice your sleep just really is disrupted. Hey, it seems like, you've been having a lot going on. Is there different pressures, things like that? Because I see patterns and I understand what causes patterns because they become unconscious. So another thing that a real coach does is they don't let emotions dictate our decisions. Okay, so many of us are leading by this emotion that we perceive from the situation that we're currently facing. And so I need you to see who you can become and refusing to settle for anything less. The problem is society has taught you you're going to grow up, you're going to maybe go to school, maybe get a job, you're going to maybe marry someone, maybe have some kids, and you're going to maybe buy a house, get a car, right? Somewhere in there in that order. And then what? Life never was said anything different. Oh, this has just happened when you get married. Oh, my husband loves me just the way I look. My husband said, oh, don't get too skinny on me. These are all really hard programs that we're running. And these are all things that I've heard women say on repeat. So I'm not here to control you. I'm here to teach you how to control yourself. You're letting a lot of unconscious programs run because of how you were raised, which our parents did the best they could with the resources they had, but maybe it's not serving you. And maybe you're screaming for change. Maybe you're screaming for more for your life, but you just never thought anything was possible. For so many women, I challenge them, who do you want to become on this journey? And it can be very jarring for some women who have never been challenged, who have been told all their life that This is it. You're never going to amount to anything else. Can't you just be happy where you are? Those are words that I've heard. Okay. So again, I can only speak on this because I've heard these words myself. So here's why higher standards feel so uncomfortable. Growth will require friction. You're going to feel friction. Okay. If you don't feel friction on this weight loss journey, I'm just going to be honest with you, you're going to feel friction. This is going to run up against your values and what you believe to be true. Discomfort is information. It's not danger. There's nothing wrong. It's just considering things done differently. But women are conditioned to avoid just being too much. We almost downplay who we can become. Okay. And this isn't burn the bras, we don't need a man type of thing. No, in reality, we need to complement our counterparts. Okay. We need to hold each other to a higher standard. We need to demand more from each other. Okay. But being held to a standard triggers. So this is what it triggers. It triggers guilt. It triggers resistance. It triggers fear of failure. So many women that I meet are type A. You're driven. You've accomplished so much in your life, but why can't you see results when it comes to your body? We'll say things like, it's perimenopause, it's my hormones, something shifted, it's my thyroid, which is your hormones. But you will give so many reasons why, because you're validating, because you have success in every other area but this one. So if being held to a higher standard feels uncomfortable, it's because you're outgrowing who you are. This is something that even myself, I just went through and I'm going through again. Believe it or not, this happens multiple times in our life when we are up-leveling, when we're changing, when we desire something different. But for most of us, we can just coast along. This is good enough. This is all I'm going to be, do, have. Oh, Arin, I don't need to wear a two-piece anyways. My husband loves me the way I am. I've had babies, and I'm sitting here going, dang, this past summer, I rocked a two-piece all summer long. And I can't tell you how good it felt to know that, man, and here, I'm going to share this. Have you ever gotten in such good shape that you have to buy a smaller bikini? Okay, now some of you guys are probably spitting out your gum, spitting out your water, but this just happened to me. And I never in my life was I can't believe I had to buy a smaller bathing suit. And a bathing suit is one of those deals, it can't be too big. Okay. And so here's me at the beginning of the summer, and I was going to put on, one of my favorite bathing suits. And I was oh crap, this does not fit. And then it was yeah, this doesn't fit. So it's pretty cool when you see things that you never thought were possible, but you considered a different strategy and you up-leveled and you created a new standard for yourself. I have a new standard for what I deem to be fit here in my 40s, and it's going to take me well into my 50s, 60s, and beyond. Okay, so having a higher standard will feel uncomfortable, and it's because you're outgrowing the person you once were. Okay? It's a good thing. So how does this kind of coaching actually change a woman's life? Here's what happens is when women personally take responsibility to say, man, hands up, I don't know everything when it comes to hormones, losing weight, and man, this just feels foreign. This is a different space for me. Because reasonably speaking, in our 30s and 40s, all the things that we used to do, reasonably speaking, got us back to where we wanted to be. Okay. And we didn't just sit at a plateau or every year we gain another 5 pounds. But here's how coaching will actually change your life is you stop starting over. Okay. You don't have to have a New Year's resolution. This was one of the best calls I had this week, was a client sharing with me that this was the first time she didn't have to set a New Year's resolution to lose weight because she already is well into her progress. So we can stop starting over. This is one of the most important things that I coach and teach in my program is the mindset to drop the weight, but then the mindset to, hey, this is just who I am now. Here's how I operate. This is how I fuel my body. This is how I take care of myself, etc. Also, the other piece of why coaching and support is so wildly helpful is because you learn emotional mastery. So where before, when all hell broke loose at work, let's just say, or you had a bad night, sick kiddos, up all night long, normally it would just be a shit show the rest of the day because you were tired, grumpy, didn't feel well. What I've done is I've helped empower women that, hey, we got to roll with things. And just because we had a sick kid, we had a bad night of sleep, we had a certain thing happen at work, it doesn't mean that we can't take care of ourselves. Maybe it means that you need to shift that workout. Maybe it means you just get steps in that day and you'll do a workout on another day. See, that's the cool thing about when you change and you up level, stuff doesn't tend to bother you. Things still get under my feathers here, but less and less. The more I've understood how to master my emotions and how to understand that everything is a reflection and everything is my perception of reality. What is stress? Can you touch it? Can you feel it? No, it actually doesn't exist. But Arin, I feel it. Fair, but you're actually in control of that. So the quicker we can master our emotions, holy moly, you literally will change everything in your life. You're going to change the conversations with your kids. You're going to change the conversations with your coworkers. You're going to be a better lover. You and your husband are going to do, you're going to have a deeper connection because you're not flying off the handle all the time. You're not so stressed out all the time. And because you actually feel good inside your own skin, your confidence just flows. The other thing that I help women stop doing is negotiating with themselves. This doesn't mean that you're putting yourself as a priority. Like, I don't even know if I would ever use the words, I'm going to put me first. But what I do know is that I have a standard for myself. My kids know that mommy is going to go get a workout in. The kids know that mommy is going to get her steps in. The kids know that we got to eat protein. I swear, like, for all of us who grew up in the 80s and 90s, like, we were told to clean our plate, like that you couldn't get up. And I think my parents said something to the respect of, there's kids starving in China or something. And I'm pretty sure I got backhanded when I said, well, they're not going to get this food anyways. But I digress. But our kids are all going to grow up with this complex or tick over eat your protein. So I hope you guys are laughing. So the other one that I want to share with you is why coaching absolutely changes a woman is because you become consistent even when life is hard. What I call it is having your foundation. When you know that your foundation is, I'm going to get these steps, I'm going to eat a certain way, I'm going to drink water, I'm going to focus on sleep. When you know that this is just your foundation, you become a different woman, because when you have stress, because listen, we're all going to experience things that kind of throw us off, but you're going to have such a strong foundation that it doesn't rattle you. Just because one day you couldn't perfectly execute said plan, it doesn't mean to hell with it. It doesn't mean screw it, I'm eating chocolate. It doesn't mean, screw it, I'm having margaritas or whatever, right? Because when life gets hard, You have a different standard, and you know, man, if I actually go for a walk, I'm actually going to feel so much better. So results don't come from being hyped all the time and motivated. They come from being held to a different standard. So the difference between accountability and control is accountability is empowerment. I empower women all day long. I'm leading you to the final destination. It's going to feel messy. It's going to feel like slow. It's going to feel like, man, like there has to be something else. I need my hormones checked. There's got to be a supplement I can take. Arin, what else is out there? And I'm probably going to say, hey girl, let's stay focused. This is what we need to focus on today. And so accountability is meant to empower you. If someone's controlling you, you are dependent upon them. My biggest thing in my coaching program is I want you to learn all the right things. I am going to debunk 99% of the things you have been told, and I am going to empower you to be able to do this for life. So a great coach is going to give you tools, is going to teach you decision making, is going to help you build the self-trust. And I'm going to work myself out of a job, right? But listen, there are so many women that need help. I get it. And when I help a woman, guess what? She tells 10 other people. Or even better is when a woman says, dang girl, what you been doing? Like, you look different. Like, and here, can I just throw this asterisk out to everyone? Don't tell women that they look skinny. That never sits well. I had a woman tell me that, and I mean, it just was like nails on a chalkboard. Why would we ever say, oh, you look so skinny? And it was said in that context, just so you know. And I was sitting there and I'm like, healthy, fit, good shape, you're glowing. I mean, there's so many other things we could have said. Now, in her heart, you know, whatever, she was maybe like, dang, like, whoa, you know, there's probably a lot of thoughts that were going through her head, but we don't ever say, God, you're so fat. Like, I would never say that. But when we say you're so skinny, like, that doesn't feel good either. So let's call it, hey, you look healthy. Like, you look good. And I think there's another one that I kind of have a pet peeve about is don't lose too much weight. Wait, what? How about we just get healthy, people? Like, let's just get healthy. Okay, so my goal isn't for you to need me forever. It's for you to become the woman who doesn't quit on herself, who can always go back to the tools that you have because of the coaching and support and because of the investment that you made in yourself. So who this coaching is for and who it isn't. Okay, so I coach women who are done with the excuses. You actually want real change, and you are willing to get uncomfortable, and you're going to check your ego at the door. And you want honesty over the hype. Okay, so it's very, very important to me that you come with an open heart that, hey, I'm going to have to make this investment in myself. This is not for women who want validation without any action. Okay, you are going to have to do things. You're going to have to consider doing things differently. If you want a shortcut, I am not your girl. It is going to take you the better amount of 6 to 12 months. For most women, they coach with me 12 months and some into a couple years. This is a journey. It is not a destination. Okay? I don't work with people who want someone else to do the work. You know, just give me a meal plan, Arin. If that one probably fires me up more than anything, is I will give you guidelines on nutrition. I have a strategic way that I do nutrition tracking. And the whole point of this is you're probably not eating completely off. You just need tweaks. If I hand you a meal plan, you are not going to eat that meal plan for the rest of your life. Now I can appreciate that a meal plan gives you structure, gives you some ideas, and typically what you're looking for is just some recipe ideas. I pass out recipe ideas literally all day, every day, because I'm always looking for new foods, different ways, and, just always trying to change it up a little bit, but still get my protein in. So I want to speak directly to the woman that this episode is hitting, okay? It's probably because you're ready. You've been listening to enough of my podcasts. You have scoured my social media, and you don't need more information, okay? You need leadership. And I am going to support you. I'm going to challenge you. I will hold the standard. I live, eat, breathe this all day long. I work long hours. I have 2 kids. I have a husband, and I have 2 fur babies, and no shortage of responsibilities with aging parents and challenges of life. Okay. So I get you. I'm going to hold a standard to you because there's more. There is more for your life. This is not it. You don't need to tug at those clothes. You don't need to buy a bigger size. You don't need to look in the mirror and be frustrated anymore, because I'm going to walk with you, and we're going to do the work that is strategic, that is aligned. All right, ladies, when this hits home, you reach out because you're done listening for more information. You don't need tips and tricks. You're ready for real change, and I'm your coach. Let's do this.